What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Cameron, back at it again with a Black Ops Cold Sweat video. In today's video, guys, it is looking like the AUG and the M16 are going to catch a fat nerf. And with that all being said, let's jump up into the video. Alright guys, so as you guys know, the AUG and the M16 have been dominating this game. They are clearly the two best guns in the game, or top three. I mean, the MP5, the M16, and the AUG are definitely the best guns in the game. And a lot of people have been saying, nerf this shit right now. I'm sick and tired of being beamed by M16 and the AUG. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate here and say they shouldn't nerf the AUG and the M16 because that's how they're made and that's how they're supposed to be. And I'm gonna tell you guys why I have this opinion. One, if you nerf the AUG and the M16 damage-wise, they're fucking useless. They're pea-shooting Nerf guns that suck. Why the hell would you do that? If you nerf their damage, you're just gonna get destroyed every single time. Think about it, bro. Think about it. Alright, you're in a battle with somebody. You have a gun that has a slower fire rate, does less damage against someone's AK-47, which has a faster fire rate and does more damage. Then the AUG and the M16 are completely useless guns. They're terrible. They are terrible guns then. They should not touch the damage for these guns. The damage should stay the exact fucking same. Because they're supposed to be able to one-burst people. That's the point of a burst gun. People don't understand that. A burst gun is supposed to be 3-round bursts so you can kill people easily and quickly. With precision. You know, they're not supposed to be like garbage pea shooters, because then they're useless guns because they have a slower fire rate than the automatics and there's no point to them. They may as well just take them out of the game. Like, look at what they did to the FFAR. They nerfed that gun so fucking hard to where it was not even viable. You cannot use that gun. And that gun was a lot of fun to use, and it wasn't even OP. It really wasn't. Like, this damage wasn't crazy. You had to hit people a decent amount of times. Like, now it's terrible. The FFAR is definitely the worst gun in the game, and maybe one of the worst guns in Call of Duty history. It has a shit ton of recoil, it runs out of bullets in 2 seconds, and does no fucking damage. So it's garbage. Alright? I don't understand why people want to nerf these guns. I get it, they're annoying, a lot of people use them, but dude, they're that's the point of them. They're tactical rifles. They're supposed to have a lot of damage, a good range, and take people out quickly with a slower fire rate. That's the point of them. You have to play them slowly and methodically. You can't just rush around like an idiot and be getting fucking quad feeds with this shit. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of have to be more slow and methodical. You have to be good at the game to use these guns. Like, you have to play like that to use these guns. I mean, I don't understand the point of it. I can see a point where you can nerf the mobility on these guns a little bit, or even nerf the hip fire. If they nerf the hip fire, I'm okay with it, because they even decreased the damage range on these guns, so they're really not as good as they were before the nerf, you know. So I don't get it. Now they're definitely going to fucking shit on the damage probably, and I'm okay with them nerfing the mobility, because the mobility is a bit crazy. I will meet you halfway on that and say the mobility for the AUG and the M16 are insane. You could put a lot of attachments on this thing and make it like an SMG. Really, it's insane. You could really make this gun very, very viable in CQC engagements. That I get. Nerf the hip fire and nerf the mobility, and I'm okay with it. Because you have guns like the DMR and the Type 63, which aren't very good in close quarters. Admittedly, they're fucking horrible. They're fucking horrible in close quarters because they're slow and they have a slower fire rate, and I'm okay with that. But long range, they'll shit on any gun in the game, which is fine. I totally 100% agree with that. If you do that, I'm fine with it. If you nerf the mobility a little bit, or just nerf the hip fire a little bit, because the hip fire on the AUG especially is fucking wild. You put a laser on that thing, it's legitimately like an SMG. It's wild. And I'm okay with that. If you nerf the hip fire, or if you nerf the mobility to a little bit, don't go crazy and make this shit like a slow lug piece of garbage. If you nerf it a little bit, I'm okay with it. You know, nerf it very, very slightly so it makes a difference, but don't nerf it to the point where it's a slow lug piece of shit. That's when I have an issue with it, because the guns have to remain viable. You know, like, I hate the MP5, right? I hate the MP5. I hate dying to the MP5. I think that gun is bullshit, right? But I don't think it's OP. Like, at range, it's not very good. You know, you really have to be playing against a moron to kill them at range. You'll lose to an AR, you'll lose to a tac rifle, you'll lose to an LMG. At range, they're pretty bad, you know? They're pretty bad at range. So I think it's balanced now. I really do. I don't think it's very OP. I think close range, it melts people because that's the point of it. It's an SMG. It's supposed to melt people close range. If you take away the CQC part of an SMG, it's pretty useless. You know, it's a pretty useless gun. What I do think they could tweak is maybe tweak the damage a little bit. Maybe put the damage down to 30 or something like that instead of 32. Or, you know, it's 34, I believe, with the damage barrel. I think that's okay. I think if they do that, that's fine. I honestly think they should be buffing guns instead of nerfing them. That's what I think they should be doing. I think they should buff the M4. I think they should buff the FFAR. I think they should buff certain guns to make them more viable instead of making all these guns nerf guns and pea shooting. I think a lot of people, man, they're way too competitive about Call of Duty and they want to make this into some competitive esports kind of league. I think they should have a separate playlist, like an esports virgin playlist. Like if you haven't like talked to a girl, you haven't been outside in 10 years, you're a fat piece of shit, then you could play in this playlist of like esport rules. All the guns are nerfed to shit where they suck ass, and you can't use any bullshit, there's no cheese, and it's just like hella boring and hella competitive. There's hella strict skill-based matchmaking, and if you get laid, you aren't allowed to play in the playlist. I think there's a place in Call of Duty for that, you know? That I'm okay with. You know, if you want to put a competitive playlist, or even put that in ranked play. Put it in ranked play where you have the esport loser rules, and here in pubs, we have all the cheese. We have the OP M16 and the OP AUG, and we have all that stuff in there where we can have fun with it, instead of just nerfing everything to where it's garbage. I honestly think they should go the MW2 route of just making every gun fucking overpowered. And so then they're all viable. That's why people like that game. People like Modern Warfare 2 because the game doesn't work. The game is broken. That's why people like Modern Warfare 2. All the guns in that game are insanely overpowered. They're all broken. They're freaking OP as shit. Every gun is great. Like, that's what made that game fun. You know, like, that game made it fun. I get it, the AUG is annoying to die to. The M16 is annoying to die to. But, dude, that's how they're supposed to be. They're tactical rifles. They're supposed to be slow, methodical, pick people off with them. If you nerf the damage, they suck. There's no point to using them. And then here's what's gonna happen. It's a cycle of horseshit. That's why I stopped, like, asking people to nerf guns and stuff in Call of Duty. Because it's just a cycle of bullshit, dude. Like, they'll just find the next best gun, use that gun, and the next thing it's nerfed again, and then they find the next best gun, they use that, then you nerf it, and it's just a cycle until every gun is garbage. That's the cycle. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at it. For example, in Modern Warfare, you had the Grau. The Grau was hella OP. It was shit on people. Then they nerfed the Grau, and now everyone's using the Kilo. The Kilo's shitting on people at range. It's insane. And now everyone's like, oh, nerf the Kilo. Like, it's just a cycle of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just never going to end. It is never going to end, so there's no point to it anymore. That's why I'm not crying to people to nerf things anymore. There's no point. What I'm going to say is buff it. Buff every other gun. Buff the QBZ, buff the fucking M4, buff the FFAR, buff the, all these guns. Buff them. Make them better. That's the only way to do it. Because if you bring other guns down, you're just ruining the game. There's no fun guns to use. I love using the AUG and the M16. You see majority of my gameplays, I'm using a 3-round burst. Because it's horseshit. Because it's fun to use. I love shitting on these sweaty, bunny-hopping MP5 using sweaty nerds with this gun because it makes them cry and rage, and, you know, it's hilarious. I love trolling tryhards. It's my favorite thing in Call of Duty now. I barely even play the game, like, seriously anymore because I already proved myself. I'm a beast at COD. I'm a stud MLG athlete, so who cares? I'm just going to troll people now. That all being said, man, this is your boy Cameron. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.
fight another day.